Hey everyone, Paige Bueckers here with NBA 2K to share some very important news. For the first time ever, WNBA cards will be added to MyTEAM in NBA 2K26. This means you can pair all of your favorite NBA legends with other WNBA legends to create a MyTEAM that's never been seen before. From a lethal backcourt with me and Tyrese, to a dominant frontcourt with Asia and Shaq. Experiment with endless lineup combinations and create your perfect 3-on-3 or 5-on-5 lineup. Put your squad to the test in single-player and multiplayer modes and compete to earn XP and unlock new WNBA cards and packs each season. Keep growing your collection and see if you can find the perfect blend of NBA and WNBA stars.
Hello, happy Friday. Nekias Duncan is with me, one of the co-hosts of one of the best X's and O's basketball podcast out there, the Dunker Spot, and also a contributor to Bleacher Report. Nekias, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I was worried that I wasn't cool enough, but you sent me the invite, and I was like, you know what? I have to take this opportunity before she changes her mind. So always a pleasure to chop it up with you.
Anyways, I just needed to make sure I had an appropriate topic for you, as you know, I cannot hang with you on the X's and O's. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't boring you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, please. you.
No, really, but I'm so happy to have you on this Friday. We typically don't record on Friday, but guys, I had to bring Nekias in because something happened yesterday, Nekias. It sort of seemed like a big deal. And, you know, because I'm not a video game girly, I was like, let me bring in someone I know who knows all about video games. But there was an announcement yesterday for NBA 2K, and there's going to be some kind of WNBA crossover. So I was super excited to hear about it. And my understanding, the gist of it, so this is just going to be my Natalie high level understanding, is that people can build teams in the video game that now can consist of both NBA and WNBA players. Is that right?
Yes, it's within a specific game mode, MyTEAM. But yes, for the first time this year, you are able to have WNBA players and NBA players in the same lineups, which it's an extension of kind of the W integration that 2K has had for the last few years now. There's a separate WNBA mode that has it has all the teams, but has most of the rosters. It always gets funny during the middle of the year because 2K drops in like August or September and the WNBA draft happens in the spring. Like you don't get those new batch of rookies into the next game, but overall pretty accurate rosters and things. So that's been in since I think 2K21, I want to say. It's been a few years now. And so now this year they're adding W players to the MyTEAM experience, which I think is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Why?
I think for me, like one, being able to, as you see on the CL video, like having Paige and LeBron on the same team or getting Caitlin and Tyrese on the same team, like the combinations are kind of endless on that front. And like reading through the courtside report, I guess 2K normally releases like a full article with all of these kind of announcements, like seeing the inclusion of like WNBA legends. And like one name that was mentioned was Lisa Leslie. And I was like, ooh, that's fun. And so my mind immediately gets to turning like, okay, how many people are they going to have in? Like, how deep is the legend pool going to go? Like, I would assume that we're going to have Sue Bird in the game because why wouldn't she be in the game? She's been in 2K before.
Right.
And so, like, I'm just like, okay, if you're going back to Lisa Leslie, like, are we going to get Lauren Jackson? Like, Candace Parker has been a cover athlete before, so I would assume that she's going to be in some capacity. But, like, I kind of want to know how large the legend pool is going to be and how deep they're going to go. Get some Houston Comets in there. I think that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. You mentioned Candace Parker being a past cover athlete. So have you like used any of these players that have already like, you know, I know it's not just cover athletes that are a part of it. So do you use some of them sometimes when you play?
Yeah. Like again, they have a separate W mode where you can just do like quick play now games if you just want to fire up like Lynx Liberty or something like that. They have a franchise mode. So if you want to build your team out and do that for multiple seasons, get draft classes in and stuff like that. So they are still gaining depth in the W portion of the game naturally, since the NBA is going to take precedence. But I have had a little bit of fun with that. And I know like for me, you know, you mentioned I'm a co-host of the Dunker Spot Pod. So something that me and my co-host Steve Jones Jr. do sometimes on light WNBA days or something, if there's only one game or no games, we'll just have like a random draft. We'll just do like 2K Sims and we'll get some W teams together. Like before we got back from All-Star break, for example, we redrafted our own All-Star teams and just put them in a sim and see how that will work. So like there's a lot of fun that's been had with that. Yeah.
Okay. I remember when like these covers first started to the WNBA covers started to be like get announced. And so you mentioned like Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird, but like in the early days, I remember sometimes there being some criticism of the way sometimes the players looked. All these years later, you know, we're now in 2026, and Angel Reese was announced earlier this year as the next cover athlete. Are they looking better with the progression, Nekias?
Yes, it is certainly getting better. Also, quick shout out to Lexi Brown on that front. That she had a situation go viral a few years ago about how her player looked. And I think she spearheaded a lot of change on that front, honestly. Like, it's one thing when 2K fans and people like me that are in the weeds are like, hey, this isn't cool. It's another thing when the players themselves are like, I don't like my likeness and this needs to be fixed. Right. And so, you know, from that point on, like, it has certainly gotten better. Like, one thing I do appreciate in light of some of the, you know, the year-by-year issues, since, again, the draft happens during the game cycle, so they can't put those players in. And so like I do appreciate the periodic roster updates to where if there are some player scans missing when the game first comes out, they are updating those. Like to that point, one of the players that I and many other people were annoyed about in terms of their likeness a couple of 2K cycles ago was Ryan Howard. It was like, why does she not have a face scan? This was top pick of the draft. All-star, yada yada, what's going on here? And like they finally got that scanned in, and I think they're quicker to adjust to players that may not have been in the rotation at the beginning of the year, but now they are, and they're important. Now we have to get them scanned in. So like it's certainly getting better. It's not perfect, but you can see the effort being made on that front.
Okay. Well, what about last year's cover athlete, Asia Wilson? She's the highest rated player, right? WNBA player with a 99. It's funny because I remember seeing, I think like some kind of interview with Asia, and she was like, I don't even really play video games like that. And then like she was asked about her rating. She's like, it better be like, you know, the top or the best. Have you played with her before? And is a 99 the right rating for her? And I'm sorry, I'm doing like what you're not supposed to do, multiple questions, but do the WNBA players care about the ratings like the way I sometimes see the NBA players like go a little crazy about?
So to answer these questions in order, like, yes, I have played with Asia before. She is incredibly fun to use.
Okay. Why?
Well, one, like she just has all of like the post control and inside scoring stuff. So like you get any kind of mismatch, it's just kind of cooked. And because the aces in general always have good guards, it's just incredibly easy to run pick and roll with them. And so Asia finishes everything. You take a mid-range. She has one of the highest, if not the highest, mid-range rating in the game. So if you want to go like short pick and pops, like those are just automatic. She has an easy to time jumper. And defensively, she just kind of flies around all over the place. And so, yeah, yes. And with Asia being the best player in the league, or if you want to take some steam off of it, arguably the best player in the league with what Fee's done this year, like, yes, like 98, 99 is probably what she should have been. And considering she was the cover athlete for this past year's game, makes sense for her to be a 99 overall. And that's with her coming off of the greatest statistical season in WNBA history. It's kind of hard to not have her rated that highly.
Right. Okay. And so, I mean, she's still one of the top rating, even though she doesn't even play it that much. Do you think we're going to start to see like WNBA players like super invested in their rating, like the way NBA players are going forward?
That wouldn't surprise me. Like I've gotten to ask Asia some 2K stuff before, but like it isn't something that I've done like a widespread, like in an all-star setting or something. Let me ask all these players about that. But like I think it's something that you're gonna have to start doing, or like I at least want to start doing, because I know there are players that just grew up playing 2K. And naturally, before we got into the W integration, like all they had was NBA players. Right. Or I guess if you were playing, I think it was NBA Live 18, which I think was the first one to ever have W players in it. But outside of that, they just haven't had that representation. Okay. And so like I would imagine like this younger crop of players that are coming in, as they are, you know, either they play 2K themselves or they have siblings that play it, etc. Like seeing W players, I think there's going to be more of a connection there. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we get more of that mix with this crop of players coming in.
Okay. And so well, you know, it's interesting because let's go back to Asia for a second,
Okay.
because she actually, she doesn't use X anymore. So you got to follow her on Threads if you want to get some commentary from her.
Mhm.
But, when all of this news dropped yesterday, she posted, "Come to Threads and I see myself throwing a lob in a heat uniform." And she's like, "LMFAO." Nekias would not know about that because he always says LMBO. So hopefully that's okay. Nekias, that she used a little bad language in there. But yeah.
My heart stopped,
So what she's referencing though, Nekias, was this little cute clip of her lobbing the basketball to Bam Adebayo. What do you make of that?
I thought it was very well done. Like why wouldn't you have them on the same team? And her throwing the lob, I think that was a nice touch. And like I tweeted about it when 2K dropped the clip on Twitter, or I guess on X, whatever you want to call it these days. And I was like, wait, was that an Asia lob to Bam? That's cool. That's fire. And like 2 hours later, I get a notification on Instagram. The BR Instagram folks had posted that tweet along with the video. I was like, that's funny. But but yeah, I was like, that was very well done. I think even broadening the scope of that little short clip as they were kind of talking about what the mode was going to entail and things, like just seeing the different combinations was interesting. Like seeing, I think it was like Luka Doncic and Brittany Griner. I was like, wait, why is BG in LA? Like I know that's the point, that you can just kind of make whatever teams you want, but like seeing Asia and Bam, that's a connection that like that's a connection that makes obvious sense. Caitlin and Tyrese Haliburton, like they're just the Indiana star guards, like that's a combination that makes sense. Angel and Shaq, they have their own relationship, like that makes sense. And I was like, wait, how do we get the Luka and BG instead of her being like in Atlanta with like Trey or something like that? Right. So like that was something that kind of stood out to me. Again, Paige and Cooper Flag, the Dallas connection there, and I was like, well, that's interesting. But no, a lot of fun with them. It's been cool to see people now officially lean into the Asian Bam thing. Since they're more public with it now, like I'm always
more public, and yet still never like explicitly stating it. But okay,
yeah,
I like playing this game.
They're just best friends,
So if you had to build like your ideal team with WNBA and NBA players in this, what is MyTEAM? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay. Who would be on it?
And see, this is where like I want to learn more, and where I'm a little bit concerned heading into the game cycle with this integration.
Okay.
And why? It's more because like if my team historically, like one, the players can just be insane. Like you can have a 99 overall like bowl in there, and it just gets wild and wacky in the mode altogether. But just in a broader sense, if your player is good and your player is tall, you're going to have a tough time. And so, like, one of the things I saw was a screenshot of how good Skylar Diggins is, or how good a Skylar Diggins card is going to be. But you quickly see, oh, Skylar's 5'6", 5'7". And so from there, it's just like, how viable is it going to be when you get into some of the guards? And like, again, Asia, best player in the league, or Nafisa Collier, one of, if not the best player in the league. Fee's like 6'1". Asia is what, 6'4".
Right.
And so like, it's like, ooh, so I wonder how they're going to balance that aspect. Like, are these cards going to have them have like super, like ridiculous jumping ability, strength ability to kind of balance some of the height and size difference? Like, that's kind of what I'm keeping an eye on that front. I think they're going to be fun to use. And like, there are within that, there's like a WNBA domination mode to where like you could just be a team of W players and you can still do like the MyTEAM things and stuff like that. So like, that's going to be easier to navigate. But in terms of the mixed group, like I wonder how many of the players are going to be viable just because of the size difference that can be in that mode. And so within that context, the team that I was thinking of, like I would want a bunch of length in the front court. So I thought like LeBron, Giannis, Wemby, 3 through 5. And then from there, like either Paige or Caitlin. And I want to have Jackie Young in there.
Okay.
But like a nitpick that I have is like they don't really nail the Jackie Young animations, or at least they haven't in previous iterations. And so like that's where I'm just like, ooh, like I could see where Jackie would work because she is as good of a driver as she is, good shooter, really good defender, incredibly strong, one of the strongest players that we have in the league. And so like that would make sense. It wouldn't matter that she's like 6 foot because of how strong she is. But I'm just like, ooh, she has like one of the slower jumpers. Like they haven't really like nailed that part yet. I hope it's better heading into 2K26. So like Paige and Jackie or Caitlin and Jackie, like some combination of those two. And then like I want the NBA size up front to kind of balance that out. Like I really want to use Asia or Fee. They're the two best players in the league, but like I worry about their fours and their 6'4", 6. You know what I mean? So that's where it gets kind of like I think it's going to be like a guard intensive mode if I had to guess.
Okay. Questions that need answers. Well, I think you need to test it out, and 2K, y'all need to get on them animations, because if we're gonna be playing with the girlies more, they got to be looking right. And do they, as a general matter, get their ratings right in your opinion, Nekias, or have you side-eyed any of them?
I will, as respectfully as I can say it, say that there's still some work to be done on that front. Like I think when you look at what the overall ratings are for most of the players, like that kind of makes sense. When you get into like the individual, like what is their 3-point rating, what is their speed rating, what is their perimeter defense rating, that's where you get into some really funny stuff. And I hope that portion continues to grow as the W section of the game continues to grow.
Well, thank you, expert Nekias Duncan, on all things. I really appreciate you coming and giving us a lesson and talking with me here on the WNBA on NBC. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the Dunker Spot. It's really a great podcast. Make sure you are following Nekias. Like, you will be better for it. You will know basketball much better if you follow Nekias. And he's just an amazing human being. So again, thank you so much for joining. And y'all make sure you subscribe to the WNBA on NBC. This is our new YouTube channel, and we appreciate your support. Until next time, take care and have a great weekend.